Hey there folks, welcome to this video, and here we're going to be talking about the WRC 2020 calendar. WRC promoter released this calendar with provisional date today, and it's been a long wait. It's been a wait of multiple months. I think we were expecting it originally around the time of Sardinia. I was actually thinking it was going to be next week at the weekend of Rally GB, but we've seen a couple of different talking points, and I'm going to go through them, including the fact that we're seeing the return of rallies in Asia and in Africa, and it's the first time that both of them have appeared alongside each other since 1999. So, you can check out some of my videos about this topic in the description below, but first off, we knew of the confirmations of dates for Monte Carlo and Sweden. They're pretty much the same weekends they have been since they returned to the calendar alongside each other about 6 to 7 years ago. Mexico appears to be a week further back. Next time around it's going to be 12th March to the 15th. And it'll be a month's break before a double header in South America with Chile and Argentina separated by about 2 weeks. It's been interesting to see that. It's an inverse of last time around, but it's also what it was originally going to be. So that you'd have the car braking rally second, so that manufacturers like Sport and Citroën don't have to fly out spare chassis at an extortionate rate ahead of something like Argentina. Though, of course, having seen what happened to Thierry Neuville last season, Chile can throw up a few car braking surprises itself. Portugal will be round 6 as we return for a couple of European rounds, Portugal and Italy, for a summer break which has a bit of a break from itself in the middle of it. Between the 4th June, 7th June Italy and the 6th August, 9th August Finland, we'll see the return of Rally Kenya, or the Safari Rally in Kenya, 16th July to 19th July. Which is actually quite an interesting thing to do. It's because WRC has had quite a lengthy summer break the past few years. But it'll be an interesting time to see us return to the Safari Rally. It's also interesting to see Sardinia retained on the calendar, whereas Corsica is not. But that's something I've talked about in other videos. After Finland, it will be nearly a month's break before Rally New Zealand returns, replacing Rally Australia. And that will be definitely a fun event to look out for. Then we fly back over to car braking Turkey 3 weeks later. Then we enjoy another 3 weeks of break before Rally Germany, which is in a mid-October setting. Rally GB will be at the end of October and the start of November, before we wait another couple of weeks for the conclusion in Rally Japan, an all-tarmac round which will be sort of replacing both Corsica and Spain. And actually that's something that's up for debate. So Rally GB is almost certainly going to be in Wales now, which means that, well, the article was talking about mud, so it's probably going to be Wales. But it means that we've lost 2 tarmac rounds, of course, with Spain being a mixed surface event. However, Japan's going to be an all-tarmac event, meaning that we will still have 2 all-tarmac events on the calendar, in the shape of this time of Germany and Japan, which is weird, because it means that, with the exception of Monte Carlo, we're going to be waiting over a year for the next tarmac round of the WRC. Almost it's from the pure tarmac rounds especially, it'll be over a year, but of course Rally Spain is around the time that Rally Germany is going to be next season. Though it's a shame to see Spain drop off the calendar, though we've heard a couple of reasons for it. So the idea is you're going to have rotating rounds. It's something that WRC has done before. It's something that it did in the mid-90s. But it didn't work out so much that time around. When it did it that time, you'd only have a handful of rounds in the season, and that you essentially had an A calendar, a B calendar, and a C calendar, which is how you ended up with 1 year that did have Rally Finland, which was 1995, and 1 year that did have Rally GB, which was 1996. But the idea of having a couple of rotating rounds will be a good one. Hopefully we'll see a round sharing between New Zealand and Australia, similar to a kind of agreement that they had about 10 years ago. Though that would depend on an organisation between the two promoters of the events. There's also rumours that Rally Spain will return as an all-tarmac event in 2021. Though which round it will take is one that we'd have to consider more. Would it take Sardinians, for example, and go to a summer event? That would be quite fun. Or would it take the place of somewhere like Germany, which was one that we thought was initially going to be dropped from the calendar for next season? And what about France? Now, of course, a lot of Monte Carlo is done on French stages, so we're not necessarily missing out on a French rally. It'll just be no Tour de Course. But will we see a return to the French mainland for a France event, maybe in a couple of seasons? I'm not too sure. These are questions that we'll have to answer at another time, but we have seen interest from multiple new WRC potential events. The only thing that comes with that, though, is what we're going to do with the weekend structure. As I've said in a couple of videos before, the reason why we've had this rotation is because the teams don't want to do more than 14 rounds under the current event structure. And the reason for that is costs. It costs so much more to do a 3 or 4 day event, even if one of those days is just a nighttime super special, compared to doing something like a 2-day event, which is what calendars such as the ERC usually do. Now, I'm not going to say that WRC should move to that model and then expand the calendar to 17 or 18 rounds. But I will say it's interesting that we've been having this debate, and then you look at some of the choices on the calendar, like Mexico, Chile and Argentina have been grouped together really well. I was surprised there's so much of a gap between Mexico and Chile. But when you're talking about saving the logistical costs, you then look at what happens when you've got Italy, Kenya, Finland, New Zealand, Turkey, Germany. In theory, what they should do, if they're looking at cutting costs more, is put Finland closer to Italy, potentially moving it out of its traditional early August slot, or putting it later in the season after somewhere like Turkey. That said, though, the long breaks between Italy, Kenya, Finland and New Zealand also serve really well, because it means that you're not going to have to pay more for quicker flyaways to different parts of the world. But it is something that could be open for debate for potential future calendars. For example, why not put Japan at a similar point to New Zealand or Australia, if Australia is going to be back on the calendar? Why not make the 3 American events much closer together, so then you don't have to worry about flying out and back again? Why not make a purely European segment of the calendar, much like we've been seeing in recent seasons? That'll be something that will be figured out over the course of the next season or so. I can't wait to see what 2021 will have in store. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of debate about it. Well, that's that for this video. Thank you so much for watching. The rain certainly isn't helping with my cold. I'm still a bit unwell. But if you enjoyed it, make sure to, well, you can like it. Even if you don't necessarily agree with the stuff that I've said, it actually means a lot to me. If you want to get a discussion going, do that in the comments below. If you did enjoy this kind of content and you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. I do daily videos on this channel, and on Sunday I'll be doing a review for the Russian Grand Prix. Yesterday there was a preview for it. You can check that out on the channel. I'll probably put a link in the description, as well as to a couple of other rallying related videos that you can also check out. Hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.